I was asked a set of questions. I'm going to read it. They're questions and statements, and I'll do this as quick as I can. I did a video on the body bag story concerning Donald Trump. Donald Trump was misquoted and did not say there were bodies outside of a building. But I'm not going to be listened to by some people. Now, this person obviously listened to me and also agreed that Trump could clarify this further. Yeah, I agree. And should. And can. He can get an interview with OAN or anybody else. Oh, yeah, that's right. Sky News Australia did an interview and misquoted him. Maybe they're using him. A news agency shows up with an agenda. Normally, OAN is extremely pro-Trump. But the Trump supporters don't want to hear Trump say certain things either, so maybe they won't let him interview with them. Or maybe he'll decide to work it because he sees an advantage in it, because Donald Trump doesn't care about facts and has said so. He's been wrong repeatedly, and Trump supporters believe, on a subatomic level, that they must never contradict Trump when he's wrong. And I don't accept that. Fauci was wrong. We're going to talk about him in a minute. He's been wrong a lot. Normally, he gets his ego out of the way and acknowledges it and moves on. But when he does that, he knows that that's going to be beating him over the head with. Because a real conservative or a real, Ronald Reagan era pick yourself up by your bootstraps guy would never admit he made a mistake. He'd punch you out for pointing it out. Because that's America. And I'm not being mocking. I mean, that's literally the attitude a lot of these fuckers carry. And don't even get me started on the leftists that do the same thing. Trump's banned from all social media for life. He's banned from a few places, yes. Not all of them. Nobody seems to be alarmed by this. He broke their TOS directly. He was told he was breaking their TOS and was given shit tons of warnings and told that he could lose access for life if he didn't knock it off. And he said that's what he was told. And he did it on purpose because Trump doesn't like being told no or you're wrong. And Anthony Fauci, if you're not aware of it, told him you're wrong and no, you don't have any input anymore. He had to put his foot down and tell him you're not a medical expert and you're incompetent in this area. And Trump can't listen to that because his ego's bigger than the fucking country. Bigger than all of us. And that's why he's an enemy of the deep state that is the Republican Party's attempt to lie about recent history and act like we should go along with it. Because they've gotten on board with this because they're scared of Trump. Because the crazy psychos have louder megaphones on the internet. The Taliban has an official Twitter account. Trump needs to be banned for life. The Taliban official account, if you're talking about the one that hasn't been banned, goes out of its way to avoid breaking the rules on Twitter every time they change them. They don't want them on there, but they're not breaking any rules. There's a bunch of people like that. But they can still choose, even if you don't break a rule, to ban you. And Donald Trump kept repeating things over and over again, even if he was just asking about it. I mean, legitimately, he wasn't promoting some of the things. He was asking about it. But he kept reposting shit because they kept telling him stop doing it. And the reason they were telling him to stop doing it is he's endangering people by giving them false hope about shit like hydroxychloroquine and shit. Then this person says, I still believe it came out of a lab. We will differ in our opinion, and we may never know, because China is filled with people who won't let you find out answers. They won't even admit they had more than 5,000 people die from this thing. China is filled with people who, honestly, might know where this came from exactly. Could have been 2013 that the first inklings of it happened. There could be some cave somewhere or some entire section of forest that was burned to the ground to keep the origin virus, which may have been even worse, dead. We don't know. But the lab is a very low possibility. And everybody agreed with that until Biden got elected and somebody decided to bring this up again. And everybody's kind of going along with it again because it's easier than stating no, I guess. There's so many red flags. COVID affects the whole world, but no transparency? Bullshit, there's plenty. Outside of China and outside of very specific individuals and groups, there's plenty of transparency. Mostly because the government not talking about the DNA strand in COVID-19 very closely matching something from 2013 doesn't stop me from sitting there and just using Notepad++ to check it by doing a diff file and finding the connections. Or any other virus. It's not stopping any of you doing it either. Once it's converted into alphabetic code, it can be used to check it. We don't have to have a genetics expertise in it. We need to know the locations and the sequence, what they're identified as, and see what that affects. That's how we can double check whether or not they're lying to us. You can also have a college somewhere nearby actually resequence DNA, or in this case, whatever code it is, inside of COVID-19, and find out whether or not we're being given the right answers. This has been double-checked in every other country. Plenty of transparency. Transparency isn't achieved by people giving you information. It's by people trying to prove you're wrong. Science is not based on agreeing with someone saying, I'm telling the truth. It's testing them, not trusting them. And you can't do that in China because they'll just shoot you dead. No, nobody's been shot over this in the United States. Please, everybody, grow the fuck up. Have you looked into Fauci's emails? How can they flip-flop like that in a couple of days? The answer is pretty simple. Fauci wrote at one time when he was working on some other disease, maybe even a little bit related, that he was surprised by its behavior and everything he thought was accurate about viruses or whatever he was studying at the time was simply wrong. A new virus came out, did something that isn't expected, and he had to just accept that what he was seeing was real. He also found out that he was wrong about a bunch of stuff. Same thing with this virus. He's quite used to it. An old scientist gets used to the fact that they're going to be wrong, mostly because they got the information right the last time. They try to use it again. The only thing that's consistent is humans transmit it, and also animals, but thankfully, mostly it's humans, like 99% of it. And if they don't transmit it, they can't. They were wrong about how far apart we need to be. We're still doing 6 feet when it should be longer. If you combine the 6 feet with a mask, we prevent ourselves from giving it to other people. But this thing does things like being covert. It will infect a person without them showing any symptoms and still spread it. It will randomly just reactivate later in someone. No, that's not caused by wearing a mask, you stupid fuck. Stop posting that. It might even stay dormant and embedded, like whatever gave you shingles some of you might have gotten. This virus is behaving like it has a whole fucking bag of tricks, because it does. And they didn't assume any of that. They assumed, let's just treat it like the flu, which was wrong. It's not the flu. It's not anything like it. It's more like a head cold, which is worse if you're trying to keep something from spreading. But this thing can kill people. Head colds rarely do, ever. This thing kills people too often. And its reproduction rate goes up and down, and also its death rate goes up and down. The baseline rate never gets below 1%. Well, now it does go below 1%, but that's with people vaccinated. Us using old hat methods sort of worked, accidentally. And he understood that in the first few days. And then the person says, why redact everything? They didn't redact everything, because they can't. If you're talking about the emails, they redacted specific things. And even a couple of websites that don't like them acknowledge why. You might want to read them. In an effort to discredit Fauci because he told Trump no, because he told Trump you don't know what you're talking about, because he eventually had to say it publicly because Trump started picking a fight with him. Trump is vengeful. If you tell him he doesn't know how to fly a spacecraft, he will try to get it to where he can fly one. And you have to tell him, no, you're unqualified, you're incompetent, and I'm going to say it publicly so you're humiliated and shut up. That person gets kicked out. He fired people directly over pointing out that he was wrong about something. Not even that they were a threat to him or anything, just that he was wrong. He would rather murder a person for saying that he made a mistake on something where he mistyped something on Twitter than if they did something or said something that was actually a problem for anybody or a threat to humanity or us. Trump doesn't care about you and me. He cares about his opinion of himself and his ego and his public appearance, his public image. Fauci bruised his ego by pointing out that he was simply wrong about something. Just like the weather department and every news agency had to point out, you don't know what you're doing when you're talking about the pathway of a fucking hurricane. He's incompetent. That's it. That's how you get him to do something bad. Conservatives have decided to jump on the bandwagon and shit on Fauci. They decided to look at the over 3,000 pages of Anthony Fauci's emails and spin some of them. And A, they're going to tell the entire truth about it, be completely clear and transparent about it, and explain how this works. Or B, they're going to lie to you because they know you're not going to go through a file that's 300 megabytes and it's one fucking PDF. Again, for the umpteenth time, giant fucking download that I won't put the effort in. Doesn't matter how much bandwidth I have. That's too much shit to go through. Link below in the description. Have at it. And yes, every conservative page I found refuses to actually post what they're talking about so you can read it, except one, and they only posted the first page instead of the other 12. But that's transparency, conservative style. That's conservative transparency. It's the best kind of transparency. June 1st, this was all released. This is from the early days of the U.S. COVID-19 outbreak, from coronavirus origins, hydroxychloroquine, face mask effectiveness, and many other subjects. They've decided to spin doctor some of this. And some of it wasn't spin doctor. It's actually, Fauci being stupid. Because he was stupid. He made mistakes. And he tried to correct them as fast as possible. So when you point out, they flip-lock in a couple of days. You mean they found out they were wrong about something and gave the correct answer as fast as fucking possible instead of worrying about their image? Yes, if a person's being honest to you, they're going to sound like they don't know what they're talking about, even though they do, because they admit they made a mistake and they were wrong before. Meanwhile, a specific variety of person that some of you literally simp for never admits when they make a mistake, even if they get 500,000 people potentially killed. And the person who's posting this doesn't normally acknowledge Trump being wrong, but he says he's not he's not into Trump or whatever, not a Trump fanboy. Then point out once in a while when he lied or said something wrong, specifically. To your friends, stick your neck out. Tell the truth even if your voice quivers. These were released under Freedom of Information Act. Washington Post got a hold of March through April of 2020, and BuzzFeed News got January through June 2020. 2020 Fauci emails, I'm going to read a few of them, or part of them. February, I actually have not been muzzled at all. This was about rumors he was being censored by Donald Trump. Him actually saying that publicly pissed off Trump supporters. Trump's your boss. He's not the boss of me. He's the enemy because he made Trump look bad. Neener wiener. Another email said, store-bought masks are not really effective in keeping out the virus, which is small enough to pass through the material. And as I pointed out in a video, which YouTube censored, it doesn't have to filter it by it not getting through the material. It acts as a trap because of Brownian motion, which is the name for it. And he knows that. But that's not the point. He says, masks are really for infected people to prevent them from spreading infection to people who are not infected, rather than protecting uninfected people from acquiring it. That's absolutely factual. That's not him flip-flopping. But the masks are store-bought masks at the time. He isn't specifying whether they're cloth masks or the N95 or HN95 or KN95 or whatever. And then, of course, a study was done and found that 2 layers of ordinary t-shirt material or a bandana folded over triangular style so you look like you're robbing a bank actually does work. And he acknowledged that for a short time. Because Fauci was wrong. April 16th. Conspiracy gains momentum is an email title from Francis Collins, National Institute of Health. It had a link to a Mediate article that linked to Fox News anchor Brett Bayer, who said something. Multiple sources believe COVID-19 could have originated in a Chinese lab, which is now fashionable to believe for some reason. The Francis Collins comment in the message was redacted because he said something that isn't Fauci. They're subpoenaing Fauci's data. Fauci's response was also redacted. That shouldn't have happened at all. Fauci said he is not convinced the virus occurred naturally. This is like a Rorschach test. It tells you about yourself when you read things that are missing, the white space, and the blotches, the words. And yes, Dr. Fauci is wrong. It is naturally occurring. Almost everyone agrees about that. Only recently has he decided this sort of thing. Why not getting any transparency? I agree. None of this should have been redacted. Most of the stuff that was redacted was other people's statements. That's a good example. And that's it. They're redacting stuff you don't have a right to. Someone else's statement, not his. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that.